Tonight on CTV News, is the long-term plan the right way to consult the public? Why are councillors and the mayor playing Monopoly in the chamber? And it's do or die for the Crusaders.
Broadcasting across Canterbury from the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Kia ora, good evening. The government has announced in the 2015 budget this afternoon, among the key changes for Canterbury, more than $110 million will be added to SERA funds. The money will go towards Anchor Project land clearances and will bring the government's earthquake recovery contribution to $16.5 billion. Lincoln University will receive $100 million to rebuild its science facilities, and we'll bring you more on what the budget means for Canterbury tomorrow night. To other news now, it's the first long-term plan since the earthquakes, but Christchurch Mayor Leanne Dalzell says the whole process is flawed and is not the best way to hear the voice of the city in the aftermath of the quakes. Marcus Gibbs explains.
An emotional moment for a couple during the draft long-term plan hearings.
It is difficult even when you're in the state of constant fatigue to even write a submission.
Joanne and Richard Matler at their wits' end after first leaving their red-zoned house only to find themselves living in a flood-prone property that's still in danger of serious flooding. They're devastated the council isn't planning to extend the Matuku waterway in the long-term plan, and the process has taken its toll on the couple. But the mayor says she understands how hard things are.
The city is in a state of fatigue. You know, I totally understand and get where you're coming from.
The long-term plan is a 10-year document explaining the council's plans for the next decade and how it will pay for things. In total, more than 3,000 formal submissions were received, and 600 people have signed up to talk to councillors about the plan. The mayor admitting this week the RTP isn't what the city needs right now.
Nobody wants to put people through a process like this, but this is our process for long-term plans. I promise you, if I run for mayor again, this will never happen this way again.
She says the RTP process needs to be completely redesigned.
We will have a much more personalised approach to dealing with people who want to raise specific issues as part of a planning process.
The City Council has been overwhelmed by the community's response with thousands of submissions. There's lots to consider, and if the RTP is rejigged, things should be easier for submitters in the future.
I genuinely believe it should be a community planning process and not a sort of a top-down process. So, you know, I'd like to think that it will be better next time.
Making things easier for a community still feeling the roll-on effects of earthquakes. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
After being delayed by a week, Christchurch's new bus interchange will open this coming Monday. The $53 million Anchor project was due to open this week, but was set back due to a software glitch. The new covered facility will replace the current open stations, but only half of the 16 bus platforms will be operational. The other 8 bays and the exchange's bike lock-up, retail space and lounge area will open later in winter. SERA says there'll be some changes to bus routes as they run through the CBD. Well, could the new Metro Sports Centre be run by the YMCA? That's exactly what the community organisation wants to do. And now that the centre's construction has been delayed by another 3 years, it's asking the council to consider it. Here's Marcus Gibbs.
The Metro Sports Facility. It's a $217 million project designed to be a fantastic asset for the city, a central city hub, a world-class facility, and one that will attract national athletes and international events. And the YMCA is lining up to take charge once it's built.
The YMCA would obviously be very interested in potentially being part of the conversation around running that facility.
For supporters of the facility, a crushing blow was dealt last week when the government announced the facility has been pushed back to 2020. That means there won't be a 50-metre swimming pool in Christchurch for another 4.5 years. That's not quite as soon as most people were expecting after hearing the Earthquake Recovery Minister talk about the project nearly 2 years ago. Back then it was expected the facility would open in the middle of next year.
So for those who sort of say, well, you shouldn't be doing this quite so quick, there's other things to be done, we are doing those other things and we can demonstrate how quickly those are coming along. But we do have to plan. This will take a number of years to build, but it will be world class. It'll be quite unique in New Zealand.
Despite the 3-year delay, the Christchurch City Council is pumping $147 million into the project, and the Crown's adding an additional $70 million. The YMCA wants there to be an open tender process for the facilities management once it's complete.
Our expertise is in facility management, particularly for community good. I think that's really aligned with what the council wants to achieve with the Metro facility.
The new facility is the council's answer to calls for a QE2 replacement. It will boast a 50-metre 10-lane competition pool, as well as dive and leisure pools. It will include an indoor stadium featuring 8 indoor courts, with seating for up to 2,800 people.
In the end, this is going to be a place where Cantabrians come both to get the skills to be able to compete on a world stage, but also for families to come along and spend a Saturday morning swimming in the pool or taking the kids for some other sporting activity.
The YMCA says once it's built, they would be the perfect organisation to run it. They believe they'll be able to keep costs down.
I think that it's a facility that will add a lot to the city, and it'll be fantastic and it's necessary and everything, but I think that there are lots of ways to sort of skin that cat from an operational perspective.
Traditionally, it's the council that manages council pools and other facilities, but Josie Schroeder wants the process to be a lot more open. She says the YMCA has experience running pools in Australia and Auckland, and the Christchurch Centre plans to build a learn-to-swim pool in the near future. She says the facility shouldn't be solely aimed at families.
I think the community swimming side of it should be in the suburbs, which is where families actually want to go. They don't necessarily want to trek into the middle of the central city for a half-hour splash around.
The council will have the final say on who or what organisation ends up running the facility. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
Well, still to come here on CTV News, can the Governor's Bay jetty be saved?
Hi, I'm Chris Lynch. Join me every Monday at 8:30 on CTV as we discuss the issues affecting you, your family and everything to do with Canterbury. That's CTV 8:30 right here.
Computer not working? Replace or repair? DIY or get a technician? Looking for parts? Thinking of upgrading? Need accessories? You've got questions, we've got answers. Global PC.
The preparation, the devotion, the fearlessness, the intensity. Runway model management. First impressions are everything.
Made to measure interiors, made with care, made for you.
Join Graham Sinclair and the team at Gone Fishin' as they bring you great stories, fishing tips and beautiful scenery. Gone Fishin', Friday night at 8:30, right here on CTV.
Welcome back. 2 posts have already collapsed and the other 50 on the Governor's Bay Wharf are on their way out. But a local trust has told the council how the century-old structure can be saved for less money than thought. Damaged and in desperate need of repair, the historic Governor's Bay jetty stands broken and torn. But the tides are changing, with a local business owner asking for assistance to restore the landmark from the Christchurch City Council. A petition with over 750 signatures accompanied this submission to the council's long-term plan. But they're not leaving it all up to the council. They've come up with a way to help fundraise for the repairs as well.
I feel that we've got a really extraordinary bunch of people behind the project to support the jetty rebuild, and it's quite rare to get that many talented, passionate and skilled people together. So I know that we can pull it off if we have the council's backing. For every dollar that the trust raises, they'll want the council to fork out $1.50.
And it's only been recently they've got an idea of how much it's likely to cost, around $3.2 million. And a spokesperson for the Trust wanting to save the jetty spoke to me on CTV News and says after the structural report was issued, they got to work.
The council did a really thorough investigation of it, and 53 piles had to be replaced. They were deemed in imminent danger of collapsing. And I guess they're 100% right, because about a month ago, 2 piles actually collapsed within a week of each other in storms.
From there, the Trust was formed and action to save the jetty began.
So we held a public meeting, which was really well attended, and out of that we formed the Trust. And the basis of the submission to Council is that it's really worthwhile maintaining this facility. We would like to partner with the Council, not only with a cost sharing, but also with a skill sharing, because there's a lot of skills in the Bay that we can use. Engineering skills, civil engineering skills, logistics, transport, technology, and we hope that by partnering with the Council using innovative construction methods, we can bring the cost down.
Suzanne Johnson from She Cafe says tourists play a major part in the Bay, attracting travellers from here and overseas.
So we actually get a lot of people inquiring about the jetty, not just locals that want it kept and reopened. I would be absolutely happy to do a survey on that, because it's phenomenal the amount of people we get each week, domestic tourism, so from people from Christchurch, but also from around the country.
Prior to the earthquake, Johnson says the community have come up with a way to help fund the jetty, hosting events to get the money. And Jackson believes it's an important historic gem to be saved.
It's iconic, it's always been there, and we can't imagine not having it.
And the Mayor Leanne Dalzell likes the idea of the cost-sharing agreement as well.
I'm prepared to help the Governor's Bay Jetty Restoration Trust raise funds and or practical help if we're able to secure a partnership with the Council to restore the jetty. Great news.
Now it's just a matter of time to see if the jetty will be used once again. Jared McCulloch, CTV News. Police are warning people to beware of bogus phone calls made by someone claiming to be from Nova Energy. The caller has been demanding payments immediately and threatening to cut off a customer's power if they're not made. Police are now asking anyone who has been targeted by this to come forward and to call Nova if they're unsure. Well, the Crusaders left Christchurch today to take on their competition in the final last year, and it's one very important game. Checked in and ready to go, the Crusaders are making their way to Australia to play one of their most important matches this season. The Canterbury franchise are taking on the Waratahs, a side they played in the Super Rugby final last year, losing out by 1 point, 33-32. However, the Crusaders coach says they've well and truly put that behind them.
We know that they're a good side and a great challenge for us, and probably where we are in our campaign, the focus is really about putting the performance on the track. We know that we're going to have to put a good one on.
But the team has a lot on their hands, having to win this game and the 3 others after this to make it into the playoffs.
I'll just look at this one performance rather than look back over the whole entire season. We've had our opportunities, we've taken some, haven't others, but destiny's still in our hands, so we're just going to take 1 week at a time and keep going forward.
There have been a few changes to this week's lineup and a historic achievement as well in the camp. Wyatt Crockett will keep his spot at number 1 and will now suppress Corey Flynn's record as the most capped Crusader ever with 152 games in the red and black jersey. There are a couple of other changes in the front row. Hookers Ben Fennell and Cody Taylor will rotate through the game, with Joe Moody and Nipolo Lala covering as prop from the bench, and Richie is back at 7.
Well, they play with the ball the most, so we've got to make sure that we defend, make our tackles, put them on the deck. I think that possibly last year we kicked a lot of ball away to them early on and really didn't give ourselves a chance, and discipline was critical.
There's also a change in the back line, with halfback Mitchell Drummond starting and Andy Ellis as cover. And Drummond says he's ready for the challenge.
Really excited about the opportunity that's going to come on Saturday night. So yeah, excited about the next few days leading in, and then it should be a good night on Saturday night over there.
The game kicks off on Saturday at 9:40 p.m. New Zealand time, a do-or-die match that this team will hope they can win to have a chance in the playoffs. Jared McCulloch, CTV News. Well, still to come here on CTV News, business and your region's weather.
With all the latest innovations in the world of technology, Shift has everything you need to stay informed and in the know. Shift 2:15 on Monday, right here on CTV.
Opus is recreating the heart of Canterbury. From large-scale projects to commercial buildings. Your design, your vision. Opus.
Colour in your life. Colour Steel, the roof of New Zealand.
Diversity. No deposit. Instant finance. Convenience. Open 7 days. Austin Motor Company.
Drive It showcases the new arrivals to the motoring world, comparing and testing the latest models to discover which one is the best. Drive It, Sunday afternoons at 2:30, only on CTV.
Welcome back. The remains of a mountain climber who went missing 4 decades ago have been identified. 19-year-old David Eric Mullen was thought to have died in an avalanche in September 1973 while climbing in the Tasman Glacier area. His remains were found earlier this year, having been exposed by warmer alpine conditions and snow thaw. Another set of remains were also found near the Hochstetter Glacier in March. Police say they've yet to be identified. And now here's Warren Head with a wrap-up of the week's business.
Hi, I'm Warren Head from headliner.co.nz. Well, of course, the focus today was on the 7th budget by Finance Minister Bill English, as he battles to bring us back in line with profitability in terms of the government speak, a surplus. He got pretty close, didn't he? And the story is that what we have done in this country in the last 5-6 years is quite amazing. You know, coming from the edge of the precipice when we had that global financial crisis, when the books were so bad you wouldn't want to read about them, they'd scare you and you'd stay awake at night. But anyway, things have got better, or have they? Of course, the other focus was on property, and that's just enshrining what we already knew, that Auckland is a mess when it comes to property values. And the government brought in this week what they call a bright line tax test on capital gain. Bright line is simply a line, you put a number on it and you say, well, if it gets to that point, that you cross that line, you cop something. Well, they cop a tax if they go over a certain percentage in terms of numbers of years in owning a property, 2 years in fact. So what we're likely to see now is that will never ever go away, and that 2 years could be stretched out to 3, 4, 5, 6, or whatever you like by future governments. So that's something we'll learn as time goes on. But it's designed to catch the investor who has bought and sold an investment property within 2 years. Now, it was not applied anywhere outside Auckland, and I talked about that last week. And so what we now have is a situation of almost 2 countries. We have Auckland country and the rest of the New Zealand country, and when we have a different tax regime in those places. Can it catch on down here? Yes, if we had the same set of circumstances. But how bad can it really get? Now, I'll tell you a wee story. I'll tell you how bad it really did get. Something caught my eye this morning. There was a property which was picked up in Auckland, and it was it was bought for $1.14 million. That's what the new owners paid. It was then listed for sale 48 hours later with an asking price of $1.99 million. Now, the real estate firm concerned, a very big one, the people there said, well, the owners simply changed their minds. Now, I wonder if these are not what John Key was referring to when he said there are foreigners who are currently non-resident income taxpayers who are not paying their fair share of tax. And that's what that test is designed to catch. The other thing in the property sector coming through is that rents, if you didn't know this already, are shockingly high. Now, the new median of $420 a week, according to Trade Me. It's worse outside Christchurch, thank God. It is more subdued here at a 2% increase year on year. Bad enough for the people who have to pay it, but in some parts of the country it's really rocketing away, and now seeing a 7% growth year on year in 2015 on top of a 5% growth last year. So rents are unstable in some parts of the country, stabilising a bit here. And just to close on some good news in terms of one of our local companies, we did mention them, I think, in talking about technology on the program not so long ago. Jade Software in Burnside, very big revenue lift, not back to profit or surplus in English speak yet, but a very good result for Jade, and particularly coming from the logistics sector where they sell a maritime package which is taking off around the world. I'm Warren Head for headliner.co.nz.
Thanks for that, Warren. Well, to something a little bit lighter now. More than 50 Canterbury University students lost their clothes to charity last night. The annual Undie Run had the students donating their clothes and running around the campus in little more than underwear. Up to 7 big bags of clothes were collected for the Christchurch City Mission. Fantastic stuff. Well, now it's time for your region's weather.
Good evening, Canterbury. Let's take a look at today's highs. Down in Timaru, you had a high of 21 today. Temuka and Geraldine, you were a little bit cooler on 19 degrees. Ashburton and Methven, you both shared a high of 20. Rakaya, 21 degrees for you. Darfield, Leeston and Rolleston, you all shared 20 degrees for your Thursday. Christchurch, a beautiful day for you on 21. Over in Akaroa, 20 degrees for you. Kaiapoi, Rangiora and Amberley, you all shared a high of 21. Calderwood, Hamner Springs and Cheviot had the region's high today with 23 degrees. Kaikoura, 20 degrees for you. Now to tomorrow's temperatures. Timaru, some cloud at first but becoming fine during the day with sunny periods increasing and cool southwesterlies dying out. Tonight's low 5, tomorrow's high 13 degrees. Ashburton, a fine Friday in store with sunny periods increasing and cold winds dying out. Tonight's low 5 degrees, tomorrow's high 13. To the Garden City, fine but cold for your Friday with some sunshine later on. Tonight's low getting down to 5, tomorrow's high 13. Kaikoura, cold southwesterly winds dying out during the day with cloud dying out as well. Tonight's low 5 degrees, tomorrow's high 13. In other areas around the region, expect a cloudy morning becoming fine in the afternoon. Temuka and Geraldine, a high of 12 for you. Methven, you can expect 13 degrees. And Rakaya, you can expect 12. Darfield, Leeston and Rolleston, 13 degrees for you. Looking to Lincoln now, fine and a high of 13 for your Friday. Over in Akaroa, a high of 12 degrees. Rangiora, Kaiapoi and Amberley, 13 for all of you. Up north in Culverden, Hanmer Springs and Cheviot, you can all expect a high of 13 degrees. Looking ahead for Canterbury, fine on Saturday with sunny periods and light winds, but cool southwesterlies briefly freshening during the evening with some low cloud and maybe the odd coastal shower. Sunny at first on Sunday, but high cloud increasing with light westerly winds. A little milder, but with colder southwesterlies and some showers developing at night. Showers clearing, but skies remaining mostly cloudy on Monday, with strong, gusty, cold southwest winds decreasing. It'll be a little bit frosty on Monday night. Mostly fine and sunny on Tuesday and Wednesday, with light southwesterly winds, cool with frosts at night time. And that's your weather update for Thursday.
Thanks for that, Mercy. Well, before we leave you tonight, we say goodbye to Marcus Gibbs, who's moving on after 3.5 years working in the CTV newsroom. Here's a look back at his time here. A baby-faced Marcus Gibbs began his career at CTV in 2011. Fresh out of broadcasting school, he was part of the news team that helped rebuild the station soon after they returned to the airwaves. He became a valuable asset for CTV and an integral part of the news team. Putting out a 30-minute news bulletin every day is no easy feat, and Marcus's eye for a good story and professional approach has ensured its continued success. Marcus was appointed Chief Reporter, a position he has held since and excelled at. Along with his news journalism, Marcus also fronted and produced one of the best programs to come out of modern CTV, Street Stories. This fascinating piece of investigative journalism delved into the dark underbelly of Christchurch and was hugely popular. Marcus has a creative flair and is able to visualise how a story should go together. It makes the job much easier for both cameramen and editors and has resulted in a number of great stories. Most importantly, Marcus Gibbs is a genuinely nice guy. Kind, caring, hardworking and dedicated. This just sounds like a CV. Everyone at CTV, both past and present, love Marcus and thoroughly enjoy working with him. You're one hell of a guy, Marcus. Thank you for everything you have done and given to CTV over the last 4 years. You'll be sorely missed, but we wish you all the best for the future.
And that's CTV News for Thursday. Have a great evening.
Oh, who's about to get the news gone? No, I can do this. Here we go. That's CTV News for Thursday. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jared McCulloch. Good evening.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.